Hello and welcome back to AJM Learn. Today I'm going to show you how to set up the new Squarespace courses. It's super cool and really easy to use. So let's dive right in. So first and foremost is creating the course. Pretty easy. So when you're on the back end of your site, click into website. I suggest doing this under not linked, just you want to make sure everything's finalized before making your page live. Or if you're still working on your whole website, whatever, you can do it under not linked or up here in your main nav, you can always move it. So I'll do mine under not linked. You want to click the plus sign and choose course. You can see it's new down here under collections. It's going to ask you to choose a template. Doesn't really matter because I'm going to show you how to customize everything. So, excuse me, choose whichever. I'll just go ahead and choose this first one. It's now going to prompt you to name your course. So I'm just going to name mine test course. And bam, it's going to kick you straight into here. So they've done a pretty good job at giving us these templates so we're not completely lost on course setup. So I'll show you all the details of what's next. First, just the basics. So again, it kind of sets this up. We're going to edit all of this, but the basics to know are if you go into edit and go to edit layout, you can go ahead and start making some adjustments if you want. If you know you do or don't want to show your course title, description, button, whatever, you can start playing around with that here. Yeah, if you want to show thumbnails, that's one. If you want each one to have a photo, you can toggle that on, the excerpts, etc. So you can start playing around with what you want to show. When it comes to design, you can, play around with the padding and, all the width and spacing and all these things. So feel free just to poke around in here. This is great. You can choose between like primary and secondary and tertiary button, which is nice. And yeah, just play around with the course outline down here, the course header up here, all of that. Can choose to have a divider on, which goes up, where does that go? Down here. Similar to any other section in Squarespace, you could play around with this too. For now, I'll turn that off. We'll talk more about adding sections and customizing later. And then as any section, you can change the color and choose one of these themes on your site. Of course, the colors will respond to that. We'll edit all of this later. If you're like, hey, I really want this to be teal, but like, why is this turquoise? We can totally edit the colors. Maybe we'll work on that next or a little bit later. But first, let's exit out of that. I don't want to save any of my changes. Let's add content. So we have this really cool layout. So basically, this is what your customers are seeing. So they're going to be in your course after either passing a paywall or not, however we choose for them to get there. They'll have the name of it. They'll have an introduction, whatever you want to show or not show. They'll be able to start the course, which will start this progress bar, which is really cool. You can collapse and expand these chapters. It'll show their progress here. So it's a really, really cool setup. But let's go ahead and customize the content. So if you go into course content, you can see they've laid out just like a template here. So basically you have chapters, and within those chapters, you have lessons. So you could click into any of these lessons they've already, set up for us and start customizing from there. Or you could totally ditch these, go in here, delete them, and just add your own if you want to start from scratch. I find it's kind of nice, since this is new to us, to start from this template. So kind of like with blogs, there's really two places to edit this. So for example, chapter 1, let's edit this lesson 1. So you can go to the ellipses, go to edit lesson. This is where your title is. So lesson 1, test lesson, I'll say, change the excerpt. You can change the custom URL. This is really cool. So they're doing this full size video at the top. I believe we might need to change it in 2 places, but this is one of them. So you want to make sure to upload. This is actually your thumbnail, my bad. So this would be your thumbnail, and I'll show you where the video goes as well. But here's where you upload that thumbnail if you wanted to show a thumbnail on that main page. Next is the video. So this is cool. At the top, they're doing this full like hero video, which I really like. Excuse me. So you can toggle that on or off. If you have videos, I say toggle it on. Super cool to have that full width at the top. So you would, just delete the one there, or click replace either one, upload or link to your video, and then you can change, if you didn't want this, you could turn it off, but you could customize the featured image so that, when it's paused at the very beginning, you can customize that image rather than it being this, it's this. All right, I'm going to discard my changes. Okay, so again, similar to blogs, we're editing both in here and in here. So if you click edit, so this test course is coming from the name of the course, what we just named it, or sorry, what we named the course itself. So this here will be the name of the course. This is, it's not letting me see it because of all this, but this is where they can kind of complete the lesson. So this stuff up here is really not editable. This is pretty templatized, just this kind of second header bar. Here you can separately go into edit the video, kind of the same as what we just looked at. It's just a different place to get to it. You can edit the layout. So let's see. So your lesson buttons, you can play around with this. So this is kind of your only customization for up here. So you can play around with where your little nav is placed. You can play around if you show the thumbnails or not. All of that. So again, this is pretty new to most of us. So you can play around with the spacing here. Okay, this here. So we have chapter 1. So there's things that you can see that are unchangeable. So this is coming from the fact that this is categorized under chapter 1. Lesson 1, this is coming from the name. I didn't save my fake name. So this, you can't edit this either. Lies, you can. But this is, they're pulling this from that lesson name that we did in that ellipses editing. But you can change it here as well, which I didn't realize. Okay, the rest of the page really acts just like the rest of like a Squarespace website. So this is their layout, which I think is a little bit psychotic. Why is everything spaced the way it is? But you can, of course, come in here and make some easy changes, centering things the way you want. You know, you can, again, it's exactly like building a page on Squarespace. So if you want to change, you know, the roundness of these photos or whatever, you can edit the section the exact same, change the background, change the colors, change, you know, the format. So really similar to building a page on a regular Squarespace site. So basically here is where you're putting your chapter 1, lesson 1 info. So maybe there's an intro with a, so your video would be up here. If you wanted, you totally don't have to include the video. You could design like a totally different, you know, hero image or something right here. Maybe an intro with a photo. And then again, I don't know, this layout is crazy to me. Like why nothing is centered vertically. But you can do that yourself. If you wanted, say, like then the download, you know, downloads, or if there was an FAQ. But again, like any Squarespace site, it's just the exact same. You can duplicate things, you can move them around, you can add sections. So this page, this like lesson 1 is completely customizable, except for, again, this kind of top and bottom bars where this is kind of that built-in navigation for the user where they can click, okay, I want to like complete this lesson and continue to the next one. So basically all the lessons work the same. I always suggest maybe designing your first lesson and then duplicating here, duplicating that. And you can, just like your nav anywhere else in Squarespace, you can easily move this stuff around. You can move this down here. You can delete, you know, full chapters. And then when you add content, it's going to ask if you want to add a chapter or a lesson. So kind of like in our nav, if you want to add a folder or a page, very similar. So it's kind of the same setup. So super easy. So get your content in there. From there, again, we add that video if we want to. We add all of our text, all of our copy, all of our downloads. Just build this out like you would a normal Squarespace page. Okay, next let's customize a little bit further. So back here on the course overview, if you click edit, this acts, some of this acts like a normal page. So this hero at the top, you can edit section, make it, you know, taller, smaller, change your background image. So go ahead and brand this however you want for your course. So this just acts like any other page on Squarespace. So next step would be, you know, get that branded. All of this, again, is pretty stagnant and kind of generated based on the info that you're putting in. But everything else is just like building a Squarespace website. So you can add a section. We chose this layout that had this kind of built-in template. So let's say we're like, okay, we don't need like all of that space. Let's play around with this a little bit. But yeah, you can just add, change, do whatever. It's exactly like any other Squarespace page, except for this section. So similarly, if we go into our site styles, go to colors, we can edit what all this looks like. So very similar to any other page. So if we go into our lightest one, because that's what our theme is here, and like anything else, you can start clicking on it sometimes, but it does like to compress. So the easiest thing to do is scroll all the way down because course stuff is at the bottom because it's new, and start playing around with this. So we have, lesson and chapter background. Maybe we want that to be this crazy turquoise, or maybe it's black. This is kind of cool. They do like a hover background. So if you wanted on hover for it to like be a different color, that's pretty cool. Obviously, we would need to change the color of the text if we wanted this to be black. Let's say our progress bar, we want to be turquoise. We don't have any progress yet, so we can't see it. Your chapter divider here. So you can kind of get into all of that. And then this is not what I would choose color-wise, obviously, but just wanted to show you guys. Let me start the course and kind of show you. So this is how it works. Someone would go through, they would say, hey, I've completed. When they go back to the overview page, here's the progress bar, so you can see that. Okay, and then once you're in course content, so let's say we're in here. Let's go back into colors. We're using lightest one. So this is all, again, most of this is like any normal Squarespace site. It's just this top part that is more templatized. So you can come in here, play around with this side nav color, make that a different color if you want it to stand out more, the text color within the side nav, all of these different things. So that's pretty much what we can control at the moment when it comes to customizing our courses. And last but not least, sorry, it got frozen, so I'm having to create a new video and piece this together. But last but not least, over here, we need to set our paywall if wanted. So click into pricing plans, create pricing plan. So you would want to name the pricing plan. Keep in mind, like, you can name this based on the course, or you can just give it more of a generic name. If you plan on using this pricing plan for all of your courses, you could just call it, like AJM course pricing. So you can basically choose the same pricing plan for other stuff. So name it accordingly. But you do the pricing plan name, description, whatever you need here. So it's kind of cool because you can generates these boxes. So basically on your customer facing page, so you'll need to build out kind of a sales page that has one of these boxes. So you add this just by adding a block and going to digital product block and choosing this product, and it's going to look similar to this because there's no real way for people to get to your course if it's paywalled unless you kind of give them one of these sign up cards. So that's how that's done. It took me a second to figure that out. So again, create like a customer facing page, put a digital product block on the page, and make sure to choose this one. It's pretty simple, but it was a little confusing at first. This is pretty cool. So you can add these benefits. So like it cuts you off at I think maybe 5 or so. You can delete them if you want, but basically this is what they're going to be seeing when they're like, should I sign up for this course? So we have the name of it, we have the description, we have, all the benefits. And then similar to like member areas or anything like that, you can set a fixed amount. You can add options. So it could be like, one payment of $15 or 2 payments of, $7.50 or whatever. So you can kind of play with that. You could also do a subscription model. So you could set it where it's like, hey, it's $100 a year, or it's, $7.99 per month. So you could give them like 2 different pricing options, which is it's kind of cool. They're doing this year toggle here. So it's really, really neat how it's set up. You can also just make it free. Either way. You want to include what products are included within this. So right now we're doing our test course, but you could say, okay, if you pay for this, you're getting both course 1 and course 2. So you can include just one course, multiple courses. So that's super cool. And you can actually limit the sign-up dates, which is great if you only want to offer the course for a certain amount of time. So that's all there too. So this is really, really cool. They did a good job at this, I think. But that's it. You set up your paywall. You would, of course, create this. I'm not going to do it. You would click create to actually create this payment plan or pricing plan. And that last thing is left to do is to, create that like customer facing page, add that block, that digital product block, and build it out however you want to promote your course and get them into it. Okay, cool. I hope this helps.